Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, Dhyana Yogam, Sloka number 18. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Yada Viniyatam Chittam Atmanyevavatishthate Nispruhas Sarvakamebhyah Yukta Ityuchyate Tada. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, after explaining the preparatory steps of external and the internal for this Vedantic meditation, in the 18th and the 19th shlokas, Krishna wants to explain about the Swarupa of the Dhyanam, the nature of the Dhyanam. While explaining the nature of the Dhyanam, in the last class, based on this 18th shloka, particularly yada word, when the person can be called as a yuktaha. So the definition for yukta word is given here, yukta iti uchyate tada. So when once the person whose mind chittam viniyatam, the mind is well controlled. Now for this yada tada and the yuktaha word and chittam viniyatam. For all these words to get understand, we went back to discuss about the Ashtanga Yoga of the Patanjali. That means a well-controlled, well-disciplined mind, the person will get only when he keep practicing those pillars of the yoga, the foundation of the yoga. So they are yama, niyama, all that. So in that, I have given a very elaborated description about the 5 yamas, the social disciplines, and 5 niyamas, the self-disciplines. Now further, today we will go to the other steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. Being these Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Raja Yoga steps are very beautifully kept in order and given for a sadhaka to prepare himself to enter into the dhyanam or samadhi or jnana yogam. The other 3 steps are asana, pranayama and pratyahara. About these 3 things we have already discussed in the previous classes, because Krishna himself explained about the asanam and the body position and the attention of the mind in the eyebrow center. The prana should be a regulated, even flow of the prana. So I am not going to explain again about those things. So asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Now we will come to the other last 3 steps, which are called dharana, dhyana and samadhi. This dharana, dhyana, samadhi, All three together becomes a very important practice for the dhyana abhyasa. According to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the dharana is told like this: Dese bandha chittasya dharanam. Tying up the mind to one place. Tying. That means what? How you can tie the mind to one place? Here, place desha means to one particular object or to one particular idea. Or we can take in the other meaning also, whenever desha comes, kala also will be there. So, to a particular object, for a lengthy period of time, if the mind is able to focus and think about the sajatiya vritti pravaham, the thoughts related to the only that particular object. It is not that single pointed, I will see the only dot, 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 not like that. For example, if you are meditating about the Krishna form, from the top head of the Krishna, from that peacock feather, and slowly each and every part of the Krishna's face and the body and the dress, and you will focus and think in the mind up to the feet. So mind is moving there, one part to one part, but all are related to the Krishna. For example, imagine like I am doing the Abhisheka to the feet of the Lord Krishna with the milk. So like this, the thoughts varying, but all are pertaining to the Krishna. Suppose, for example, when I am pouring the milk, then if I get the intercepting thought, Vijatiya thought, why the milk is now so costly? Why the government has increased the price of the milk? Then gone. So it is a Vijatiya. So focused mind, this means not just one thought. The thoughts are there slightly, but the circumference of this moving of the mind is tied up to only one particular Krishna's form. That is called dharana. Whenever you try to do like that, again and again the mind go with the other thoughts. The other thoughts will erupt in the middle. Again you will go and again remember and bring the mind back. This with effort, giving a practice to the mind to tie up to a one particular desha and kala is called the practice of dharana. That means where the effort is involved. But when it comes to the dhyanam, same dharana only continuing, but now I need not to put much effort. The mind is not getting the intercepting the middle vijatiya thoughts. Maybe drastically that distraction has become less and less and less. And then same way I am able to do for quite lengthy of time without any struggle. So if dharana happens without struggle much as like before, then it is called dhyanam. And Patanjali Sutra gives the meaning for this dhyanam is tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. There means in the dharana practice time, pratyaya means thought only. Ekatanata, that means a sajatiya uninterrupted continuous flow of thought. Like how the examples given in the Shastra, the traditional example is Ajyadharaya. That's why Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in his Upadesha Saram takes this example of Ajyadharaya Shrotasa Samam Sarala Chintanam Viralata Param. Instead of the mind is scattered and going to the Viralata, and Saralata means Sajatiya Vritti Pravaham, and that is like how, as like the oil pouring, ghee is pouring into the Agni Kundam. That time, if you watch the flow of that oil, it looks like crystal clear, like one rod, or unmoving. It's not moving at all, not spilling. There is no any disturbance. Crystal clearly, like one rod. Whether it is flowing or not, we'll get a doubt. So, like that, uninterrupted, Ajyadharaya. Like otherwise, Shrotasa Samam, as the flowing river. Actually, river flowing, the water is going, and but there is no any gap in between. The water is one, but the flow is continuous. Of course, in 19th shloka, Bhagavan Krishna is going to give another Shastric example only. Now that we will see. So here, Dharana and Dhyana, then Samadhi. Eighth step is called in Ashtanga Yoga Samadhi. Samyak Adhinam Adhanam. Samyak Adhanam Samadhanam or Samadhi. Samyak Dhi. Dhi means the thought, intellect, where the thought of the mind is samyak placed, and that is called Samyak Adhi Samadhi. And even though the steps are 8 according to Ashtanga Yoga, this 8th step is a Samadhi, but in Vedanta we will go one step further and say this 8th step Samadhi is the Angam, or all other down the below steps are also Angams, the parts. But when we talk about the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Yoga Sutra also talks about it, but what we talk Nirvikalpa Samadhi is Vedantic is quite different. We never say thoughtless mind. As I told just now, the thoughts about the Krishna. So in Vedanta also, in the Nididhyasanam, about the Brahman, the thoughts move the Swarupa, Lakshanams of the Brahman. The thought may vary from the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahma Nityosmi, Aham Brahma Suddhosmi. Like this, the word what you already heard from the teacher in the Vedanta Shravanam, they will keep on change. But see again, all are related to the, pertained to the Brahman only, Atma only, no any Anatma thought. Then it is called as a Sajati Vritti Pravaha. That itself is a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. If you absorb in that, that means more, where the distinction between the meditator, meditated object, and the gap is removed, that state is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But there is a thought, but that Vikalpam or the thought is so subtle, so subtle. So samadhi. Then when it comes and we talk about the Nirvikalpa Samadhi in Vedanta Shastra, we will call it as the ninth step, Angi, for which purpose, for whose sake, for to know what, to abide in which, that Angi is I am, the Brahman, consciousness, and Samadhi is Angam. Angi, Angam. Then this Nirvikalpa Samadhi and these three steps, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, together called in Yoga Shastra. Of course, that word is used in the Vedanta Shastra also, which is called Samyamaha. Sanyamaha. What Sutra says, Yoga Sutra, Trayam Ekatra Sanyamaha. All these three together called Sanyamaha. In Samyamam or Samyama word comes in the Bhagavad Gita also. About the controlling of the mind and absorption of the mind, dwelling about the truth. Krishna mentions about that Samyamam word. Then we will go to the next shloka. What example? So now we have touched all the 8 steps. Now more description about our Bhagavan himself is going to tell 7 characteristics of this Samadhi according to Vedanta. But before going to that, that comes from 20th. Now 19th shloka. Yatha deepo nivatastah nengate sovama smruta yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Bhagavan giving here is a typical example of the as like this now yata chittasya yuktasya niyatam chittam, this person's mind is now as like yatha deepaha nivatastaha, the lamp kept in a wind free place. There is no wind which can disturb the steadiness of the flame. Nivatastaha, vata, wind, nivata, where there is no any fan or any movement of the wind. Therefore, that flame is so steady. So that steady flame, even in our houses, if we kept the lamp in such a place or protected by a glass, you can see that's very, very single, steady, unshaken flame. So that example, na ingate, which doesn't shake, flicker. So this example you must remember. Smruta sa upama, that example, that simile. So this practitioner's mind, yoga yukta mind is unflickered. And even many poets like Kalidas or some other places also, in Shastra also, whenever they want to compare particularly Kalidas did this, about the beautiful lake Manasa Sarovar. This Manasa Sarovar, this lake, so steady and without any ripples or the waves, like the mind of the Gnani. Generally, we compare Gnani's mind should be like a shaking water sheet. In a pond, the water which is not disturbed by any wind or the leaves or anything, no ripples at all, like that. But being to praise the Gnani's mind, so to explain and compare with that, hmm, to tell the beauty and the greatness of that Manasa Sarovara lake is like mind of the Gnani, undisturbed, not only disturbed, clear, clean, crystal clear, and so chill also. So these are all the mind's qualities. A calm, quiet, cool, steady, undisturbed mind. So that example Bhagavan gives here. And in the second line, so yoginaha, this person, this sadhaka, yoginaha, again that word yatachittasya, this person now, well controlled minded person, yoginaha, chittasya, yatachittasya, what happened? Atmanaha yogam yunjataha. That's the three words. Atmanaha yogam yunjata. Yunjato yogam atmanaha. That means then the yogi should practice, contemplate. Yunjataha means engage the mind to practice this contemplation of the self, Atmanaha. This is very important word. If that contemplation is either not related to the God or not related to the Atma, that meditation we can call it as only a simple concentration practice. Concentration can be improved and people will talk about that so many things in the world. For example, a arrow shooter, archer, or the gun shooter, pistol, revolver, and they all have got one particular target and keep on practice and concentration, even without blinking the ears. They hit the target. We are not talking about such a concentration here. Please understand. Otherwise, such a concentration is there for all of us in some occasions or other, even in the animals also. So here, the object of the contemplation should be the Ishvara, God. Not any simple flower or one particular object or particular dot. There are so many things people teach even for the children to develop the concentration. They will tell so many methods. But more you take the worldly support, worldly objects, that will give improvement for the concentration, but it won't give the inner growth of the spirituality. It is only limited to the only materialistic part. But when you take the Ishvara, God, the God's names and the forms which are mentioned in the Vedas, not any other also. For example, the avatars of Rama, Krishna, or Devi, or Ganapati, these gods only should be taken for meditation alambanam. That is upasana, the first level. But we are now talking about the Vedantic meditation nididhyasanam. Here we are now came to the Nirguna Nirakara, that too, that Nirguna Nirakara self, Chaitanyam, Atma, not somewhere outside. It is me only. So Atmanaha means of the self. So whenever we Shastra tells about the Atma or Paramatma, Brahman or Chaitanyam, Upanishads were very clearly show that Tattvamasi, O Svetaketu, you are that, my dear. The Shastra, Upanishad, I am talking about you. You only that Brahman. You only that Chaitanyam. You are only that omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Ishvara also. And you are the Adhishthanam. And you are the source. That's why the Kaivalya Upanishad declares and tells us to declare. You also declare. You tell Mayeva. May means from me. मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं मयि सर्वं लयं यान्ति तद्ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम्. So, in this way, by giving the example, and Lord explained the Swarupa of the Dhyanam. Dhyanam is always about the self, Atma, because that only can give you the perfection, purnatvam, completeness, and total fulfillment. Any other type of practices, if you are expecting any mystic experience through this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then it is not useful. It won't give you the total freedom. Unless you know that Anantam Satyam Gnanam, otherwise you are bound only. So this burning lamp. Now here one point, that burning lamp can be protected without flickering by closing the windows, by switching off the fan or doors, all that, or by putting a glass cover on it. But how to stop the flickering of the mind? Example is okay. For that, Shastra tells, Bhagavan also is going to tell later. Generally, in the Bhakti Shastra, from the angle of devotion, we say through the shield or the cover of the Bhakti and Vairagya. By the devotion and the dispassion. Okay? So that protects the mind without becoming disturbed or affected by the raga, dvesha, soka, moha, bhaya. And same time, the cause for your fear and your delusion and your dukkha, misery is you are giving the importance to the unreal mithya, nama, rupa, jagat, anatma. So have some kind of viveka and dispassion. Don't get attached to anything. You live among them, you use them, but you are not depending or addicted or giving the reality to them. We are using them, but I am not giving. Whenever I give the reality to them, I am bound to become miserable. Therefore, use that. But the same thing Bhagavan is going to tell later. I will just remind that also. Bhagavan tells us, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Because Arjuna raises a question after some time, few slokas later. Then there we'll discuss about what is the meaning of that abhyasa to abhyasena, vairagyam. So vairagyam is there because instead of saying bhakti, Bhagavan says there abhyasa. Another word, another angle of expression about in the niyamas, I forgot to tell one point. The last three steps are there in the niyamam. You remembered 5 steps: Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhana. In these last three, Tapas and Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana, all these three together also, in some books and sometimes some places, the Shastra or commentators call it as a Kriya Yoga. It is nothing but Kriya Yoga means you don't think of some other Kriya Yoga institution and all that. No. Nothing. Kriya Yoga means Karma Yoga only. Now you again recollect and think about these three things: tapas and swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana, all three together. It becomes the Karma Yoga. Okay, anyhow, that left out one point. Then, so after telling this Swarupa of the Dhyanam, then Bhagavan from 20th shloka to 23rd shloka, culmination of this Dhyanam in the name of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because we concluded there only, when we are talking about the 8 steps. 8th step is called Samadhi, and the 9th step is called, of course, in Shastra, nowhere, Shastra means Yoga Shastra, they never told about the 8th, 9th step, but we can understand and take it Angi, and this is Angam. So that to tell about the culmination, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, is explained. How? By giving the 7 features of or definitions of this Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Very important. If you don't understand or know these things, we all imagine about the Nirvikalpa Samadhi something. Let us read this and then I will tell what is that something. Okay. Shloka number 20. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. First I will give a general word-to-word meaning, then we will see in this shloka, Bhagavan giving the 2 features of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. The features of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now, word-to-word meaning is Yatra Uparamate Chittam. Where means in Samadhi practice time, where. Uparamate means that mind attains the quietude. Uparama word in Sadhana Chasta Sampatha also, that Uparama only called as the Pratyahara in the Yoga Shastra. Uparama. Chittam, when the mind, where the mind attains the quietude, Uparama. In Mandukya language it is called Prapanchopashamam. Prapancham, Dvaita, Namarupa Prapancham is no more a disturbance or no more a problem, no more an important issue for me. So, Yatra Uparamate Chittam, how it happened? Don't forget what we discussed in the last class, what I am telling since so many slokas. Yoga Sevaya Niruddham. This mind is Niruddham and restrained. This restrained or Niruddham Chitta Vritti Nirodha. When that word is used, we should not get a wrong notion that niruddham, tying up the mind, putting the mind in a tight vacuum box, restricting, control. Is it like that? No. Niruddham, well disciplined, cultured, trained, restrained mind. Never think again, no thought should come, no thought should come. If there is no thought, it is not the mind at all. If the thought is not there, even you cannot think and say about Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is also a thought. Therefore, Niruddham means, as we talked about this, so many disciplines and all that, now the mind is now quite cooperative, quite uh, silent and cooperative. That is more appropriate word, cooperative. It is not nagging. I know what my mind is. It cannot pull me. It cannot behave as it wants, because higher mind, the intellect, is always watching it, kept under friendly control. Niruddham, all that happened by the practice of all this karma yoga, upasana yoga, ashtanga yoga, yoga sevaya. The practicing of, here seva means practicing of yoga. Then another, yatra cha eva atmana, yatra cha eva atmanam atmana atmanam atmani pashyati. Here we have to very carefully understand that 3 times atma word is used. 3 times. Atmanam, that means the pure self, my own existence, Sat Chit, I, that Atmanam, okay, the self, Atmana Atmani, by the intellect, by the mind, in the intellect. So, through Atmana, by the mind, Atmani, in your intellect, Atmanam, your essential nature should be thought of, meditated. Not here thought of or meditated word, meditation word already, it is a underlined inner meaning, but here Atmani Tushyati. Atmanam, Atmana, Atmani, the word important is Tushyati, rejoice, satisfied. Tush dhatu, okay, trip dhatu, tush dhatu. Even that santosha in niyama which we discussed, that only this tushti, it is not actually happiness or anything. It is satisfied. That's why I given the meaning to santosham means contentment. Samyak toshati, samyak tushtir bhavati. That is called santosham. Not simple ananda or some happiness which comes because I got this object, so I become santosh. Because santosha word is very common for so many South Indian languages. We just simply say happiness. But here happiness which comes and goes, our happiness If I say that because of this person, I got happiness. Because of this object, I got the happiness. So if that object came, so happiness came. If that object goes, happiness goes. So it is not a permanent one. Therefore, here tushyati means content within myself. I found the contentment because of what? Because self is Purnam. I have no any deficit. There is no any apurvata, incompleteness in me. I discovered that. Shastra told me, my guru said, I am Purnosmi. Purnam, complete. When it is Anantam, and that is the real Anandam, because of not something, because of its nature. My nature is Ananda, my nature is Purnatvam. Then where is the question of searching and craving and asking and begging for something? That is the meaning here. Tushyati. This tushti, this contentment, this fullness which never goes, cannot go. It is always like that. Sada. Okay, this is the meaning of the shloka. Now, what are the two features you have to highlight and underline and take from this? One is because of by the first line, yatra uparamate chittam niruddham yoga shevaya. It conveys that chitta uparamanam. Chitta uparamanam is the first feature of the nirvikalpa samadhi. Chittam is, mind is very well functioning. Mind is understanding. Whatever sense organs are sending, the informations receiving. I am interacting, I am doing my vyavahara also. But in spite of all that, the mind is not agitated, not get lost. So, chitta uparamanam. This is only called prapanchopashamanam in the Mandukyam. Prapancham is there, but from my paramarthika, from my real nature of Atma standpoint, the world is not there. World is not real. As though it looks, it appears, but it's not real. When we inquire, it cannot stand. It has no substantiality to stand by itself. I am giving the stand or the support to it, me, the Atma. If I am not there, who will tell this world is there? If I am not there, who will can tell that sun is there? Because I am there, then I know or I can say that on me this Nama Rupa are just superimposed. Superimposed. So the first feature of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is Chitta Uparamanam. If I am really doing meditation and the Adhyatmika Sadhana and I am listening the scripture steadily and understood properly, without any struggle, the mind is very, very quiet and peaceful and unagitated Uparamanam. That means it never run behind the Anatma, Anitya Vastu and get caught up. That's it. Whatever is there, it is using. But I know for certain nothing is permanent. Nothing can bind me. Nothing can make me miserable. They have no any guts or the capacity to make me miserable. Such a mind is called chitta uparamanam, upashamanam. So number one is chitta uparamanam. Then the second feature of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is from the second line we have to derive it Atma-Darshanam. Atma-Darshanam. If my attention, my understanding or grasping or my support, not my support, I am the support, Atma. So Atma-Darshanam, I realized, I recognized myself. That's why if I want to do Atma Dhyanam, unless otherwise I heard the Shastram, the nature of the Atma from the Guru, I cannot meditate on the Atma. If any other thing means outside object, rose flower, you meditate, I can show the rose flower. But the nature of the and Swarupa Lakshanam of the Atma Brahman is as Upanishads told. So that is the I relive in the teaching. In fact, this Nididhyasanam or Samadhi is reliving in the teaching. It is like this. I heard first, then there I recorded. That is called VCR. Nowadays we are not using them. Video cassette recorder. Now that I will play here as the VCP, video cassette player. If that is not recorded, how that cassette can play and what can it play? So unless I heard and came to know about what is Atma, this is only in the Ramagita. Now Bhagavan telling there, before the Samadhi you must know all this, how the three letters of the Omkara, three layers of your body, three levels of your status of experiences, all the three compared. This all you must know first it and then match them. And after that matching, you will merge them one into on one other. So everything, prapanchopashama means everything is merged in me. But I cannot merge myself in anything because I am everywhere. As a consciousness, Chit Ghanam, Sat Ghanam, and Ananda Ghanam, how, where I can merge with what? So here, Atma Darshanam is the second feature. Again, be careful when we use the word Darshanam. Oh, it gives like one day I'm going to see the Atma as a beautiful light or like the oval shaped light or something in front of my eyes. I feel bright, dazzling light. Darshanam means what generally? Visualizing, experiencing. You cannot experience or visualize the Atma because you are the Atma. How you can experience yourself? You are experiencing everything. So the experiencer you cannot, you are experiencing everything, but you need not to, you cannot, you need not to experience yourself. So never expect that I want the experience of Atma. This is a wrong approach. Atma is not a object to experience. Whenever the word experience, anubhavam comes, it is mithya. The experiencer is Satyam. Very difficult to grasp. Point is very subtle, but you have to grasp one day. It has to click one day. The subject I can never become the object of experience. If at all I am expecting that, I am doing a big blunder. Again, then what happens? I experience the Atma, and so Atma becomes the object of experience, but still the experiencer, that is unknown. Object subject difference will disappear. It is called actually Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Disappear means from where? In your understanding, in your intellect, this clarity is itself is the darshanam. Atma darshanam. Never expect, anticipate that something I'm going to see, some mystic experience. Most of the people go in this wrong understanding. How much Gita, Bhagavad Gita says, Upanishad says, but still they all somehow that opinion, that idea, I must have, unless I have some mystic experience. The mystic experience, how much mystic may be, Mr., but that is only a mist. One person writes a book. Many Westerners will write books on this meditation, yoga, dhyana. I had a very nice, happiest experience in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, blissful state. Now, when I came out of that experience, I am feeling so painful in this worldly interactions and this again the body, mind and all that. It is like 1,000 scorpions are biting me. If the samadhi experiences came and that is gone, now my experience is 100 scorpions biting like that, then who wants that samadhi? Who will want? But people are crazy, not ready to understand either the Upanishadic words or Krishna's words or Ramagita Rama's words, but they simply imagine and read the uh, unwanted books. Because freedom, everybody can write books. Nowhere it is said in the Shastra, you should have the mystic experience. I will tell you after reading the second shloka. Is it clear now? Two features of the Atma are told here. Okay. Let me read the 21st shloka, because these are all a continuous thought flow but with different features of explaining the futures of it. Sukhamatyantikam yattad buddhigrahyamatīndriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam stita shalati tattvataha. Yes. Bhagavan says here, third and fourth features of this Nirvikalpa Samadhi are going to come in this. General word to word meaning. Atyantikam Sukham Yat Tad. That is Buddhi Grahyam, but Atindriyam. This point only just now we are discussing. In your intellect, Buddhi, you have to just grasp it. You have to just grasp it. That's why in the second line word, there is the first word, Veti. You know it. Bhagavan didn't say you experience it. Very important word. Based on this only, I just spoke to you now 2-3 minutes. And it is atindriyam. It is beyond the senses. See, every experience is through one or the other sense organ. We have only the five inputs. Beyond that, we don't have. But atindriyam, indriyams cannot. It is beyond the perception of the sense organs. But even though the mind is called as another sense organ or another indriyam, but through that mind, that too, Bhagavan used the word buddhi, which I told in the previous shloka. With your mind, in your intellect, you contemplate your own self nature. So, buddhi grahyam, it is graspable by here. Buddhi means reasoning, by logic. Okay? How much we are analyzing, how much Krishna is keeping a stuff in each word and each shloka. Here, buddhi grahya means by viveka, by reasoning, logic, you can understand that. You need not experience. So here, the Veti word, I will take it up. Veti atyantikam sukham yad tad buddhigrahyam veti. Otherwise, Bhagavan can use the word you experience word. He never used. And indriya agocharam, agrahyam. Okay. Then next line, yatra na cha eva ayam stitaha tatvadaha na chalati. And the na inga varum. Yatra cha eva ayam tatvataha stitaha na chalati. Once after recognizing it, after understood that, he never again fall down. He never get shake. He never miss it. That's why once if you grasp it, that's it. It is like a knack. Once if you know how to balance the cycling, but in the beginning you struggle a lot. Somebody has to hold and go, you go slowly, you will fall many times. And after a few days practice, the person who is running behind us holding the cycle, he already left, but I am going. But I have got a doubt whether that person is holding, pushing me or not. Because before he used to ask me questions. I look straight and go slowly and don't look here and there. He used to guide me. And now no voice. Then I just want to see that whether that person is supporting, holding me, then I will fall. When I look back, I fall. But after now I becomes the expert, I become an expert, then I can cycle with one hand and I can even leave both the hands. I can speak in the cell phone and cycling. People are expert because it's become now. I never, and again you will forget that cycling technique. You will forget. Same way swimming also. Once if the person come to know how to swim, it is an act. That's why you have to jump into the water and you have to struggle and you have to practice. Then you will know it. Then you never forget it. It never go from you. In the same way, once if you know it, what you are. So Tattvataha, from the nature of the self, from the truth, he never, after once abiding in that, nachalati, nachalati. So these are the, in this sloka, what are the two features of this Nirvikalpa Samadhi? The third one, Atyantika Sukham. Atyantika Sukham. And the fourth one is Atyantika. Then fourth one is Tattvanishtha. Tattvanishtha. Sahaja Samadhi. What is this Atyantika Sukham? What is Sahaja Samadhi or Tattvanishtha? These things I need to explain and describe you much more in the next class. And along with that, we will see that still many more misconceptions about this Nirvikalpa Samadhi and all that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Hari Om Tat Sat